Hi, everybody. It's my fault. I'm late. Good morning. Hope you enjoyed my nap. Welcome to the Blue House Bull Session. Starting just a few minutes late. It's December. We are in the thick of it now, folks. Absolutely. I am joined as always by my best friend forever and human alarm clock, Fuzzy. How are you doing this wonderful, fine, fantastic day?
I also slept to the the Metro Health, not Metro Health. It says the Metro Health.
I have such opinions about that. But, like, that makes it
Hello.
feel even scammier. Yeah, well,
It was Chase with General Electric Home Security.
that is not correct at all. How how does that spoofing work? Like in general? I mean, I don't understand what they're even attempting to do with that.
Okay, I'll save you a lot of the long, boring technical details because I know for some dumb reasons way too much about how phone caller ID works. But basically, it's as thinly veiled as writing your return address on a postcard.
Right. That is very understandable.
That's it.
That's gross.
Or writing your return address on an envelope at all.
Gross.
It's
Yeah.
from this person. Like it's handwritten. You can write whatever you want there. That is not even looked at in the system
Yeah.
unless they are trying to manually return it.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's
I also laid down and like okay, I got a little bit of time to kill. It's cold. I'm gonna lay down on the couch with the big blanket and just sit here on my phone for a minute and get warm and then get up and go do the thing I have to go do. And then I woke up at 5:58 when my 5-minute pre-podcast alarm was going off.
yeah.
I also slept through 8 other alarms in the 4 hours there that I granted I should have been sleeping at the time so I was probably tired, but like no, I'm just going to take a little nap. I'll just be a little tired at work. I got some daytime things to do. Nope. So, this is why I'm always paranoid about trying to take a nap before a thing.
Yeah.
There's that you've seen the memes and the jokes of like, oh, I have a thing today at 10, so I have to get up at 7 and be ready, and I can't do anything else all day. You know, especially with neurodivergent people, like, oh, I have a thing at 4, so I have to be I have to leave the house at 2 o'clock to make sure there's travel time and buffer, and I get there early. So I have to wake up at 7 a.m., shower, and do nothing else at all. That's how paranoid I am.
Even as someone who's habitually late, and I will be the first to admit that as a failing of myself, I still run into that, in that everything takes. I account for the time that everything takes. And it
Yeah,
always adds up to so much time that there is the thing I can do, and that is the thing I can do.
I am stereotypically that dad that gets to the airport 5 hours early.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're like, you should arrive 2 hours early. And I'm like, okay, so you know that there's a variable amount of wait time to get into the airport.
Yes.
Like they tell you that. So they know it is a horribly unknown variable amount.
Welcome.
I don't like how variable that is because it can go, that's the average, which means there's outliers and shit happens to me.
Yeah. The airport setup is very screwy, and the fact that it becomes such a mess immediately, yeah, that's no good. Also, welcome the lovely and illustrious Red Stephanie joining us today. Um, since I
That's
managed to wake up a little bit late, I'm a little bit behind on getting everything set up here, so we might have a minute or two of technical whatnot while we get the microphones and cameras and everything set up, but we will figure it out. I will say there's a little thing at the bottom which lets you pick microphones. I'm not hearing you right now come through, so. But I also see you. What is going on here?
What the fuck?
There
Hello?
we go. Hi, there you are.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
I think it's one of those days where we're all trying to convince ourselves of that. We are good because we have decided to be, regardless of whatever circumstances are conspiring against us.
Oh, I know why. My my thingy. I don't think I plugged it in.
Well, you should be set now, for what it's worth.
No, no, no,
Everything's
no, my
set.
camera.
Oh, gotcha.
I am smart, I promise.
No stressing, no stressing. We've all been
Oh.
there. We've all been there.
Hello?
Howdy.
Come on, work. I don't understand why it's not working. Turn camera on. Done.
Yeah. It'll pop up when we get there. Like I said, no
Okay.
stress.
So, how are things with everybody?
Man, I am still shaking the spiders out of my head. I am not awake yet by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm gonna jump right into it anyway. It
I
was
got a
very
paper cut.
very nice, Nap. Uh-oh, what happened? I mean,
I don't know,
obviously with the paper cut. Oh,
but it's on the tip of my middle finger.
a paper cut appeared. I see.
Yes.
I understand.
What the hell?
Oh, it's doing a thing. It's trying.
Something is changing. Something is happening.
You're transmitting nothing, but you're transmitting.
Yes, it's trying to send something. That is definitely a step in the right
Does it
direction.
have a cover on it?
No, it might be sending the wrong thing, but I don't know how computers work. Technology is a mystery to me.
I had that problem once. My daughter was down here at some point, and she saw the little slide cover on the camera, and she was playing with it, apparently, as I checked the security camera. Sharing your screen. That's not the right button.
Help! I don't know what I'm doing.
Push the white circle.
This one?
No. What's on the camera button next to it? Yeah.
It says turn camera off. Oh.
push the little down arrow next to the camera button. Make sure you're picking the right camera.
Oh, for flying farfignogle.
The beauty of modern technology right here.
Make sure it doesn't say like OBS camera or some other shit. Make sure it says whatever the hell your camera is.
Well, it's a
Hey, there we go.
Hey, I
There we
did it.
go. Perfect.
Oh.
Nope. Not
Not OBS virtual camera.
You don't need OBS open for this.
There we go.
Yeah.
That one.
Perfect.
Okay. For future reference, which camera is it? So we can tell you later when you're like, what camera is it?
It says the USB video device camera.
Cool.
Sure.
It just recognizes it as that. That works by me. A-okay. You know, with all the cardboard you've been throwing around, I'm surprised that paper cut is the one that's standing out right now, because cardboard cuts are gnarly. You know that from
Oh, yeah.
They're
experience.
nasty.
You
Couple,
can see the
couple of
red.
those. Yeah, I see the
probably.
red one over there. That's
I took a chunk out of my thumb on my first day, and it's still
Youch.
healing a week later.
Youch.
Like it just.
Yeah, I do not envy you that at all. That is one of the things I do not miss about any of the stocking or anything like that, is it's all packaged in apparently razor honed cardboard edges. You know, they might as well just like pack it in knives for safekeeping.
Yeah, I agree. I remember getting like I swear to God, my thing was like my skin had opened this much from a cardboard cut, like a box cut, and I was like in pain for like a week.
I get how it works. I've had it explained to me. I've read a ton of times. I've seen a bunch of stuff, but it still doesn't quite make sense to me.
Well, remember this: they give us metal, hardened steel blades that are sharpened to cut. They go dull cutting that cardboard.
That is true.
Yeah,
They will tear it up.
Paper is the worst enemy to any edge of a blade.
Yeah. And wood is just effectively the same thing, but not processed super thin. So that's why they say with an end grain cutting board. That's an interesting thing I learned. End grain cutting boards are better for your knives because the fibers in the wood are already aligned vertically, so your knife will come in between them. If the fibers are aligned this way, they'll shunt off the edge, and that will dull things. And I'm trying to gesture. I'm making wood with my hands. Don't. That was too easy.
Fuzzy, behave.
Oh, he does. It takes effort, but he does.
Ah. You okay, Fuzz? Did you break down?
I think we broke him. I think we legitimately just broke him all the way through.
It's not that hard, though.
That's what she said.
I didn't mean to say that. I did not mean to say that.
Nope.
Brother, we are off to a start today, aren't we? Boy, I'm going back to my nap. Nah.
And now, for all your jokes, I'm going to reach over and get some toilet paper that I conveniently have on my desk.
Oh, you mean man tissue. Why?
I'm not going there.
Why do us guys not... Why isn't Kleenex a reflex for us? How did that happen?
What?
Like,
I missed those.
every single guy I know reaches for the toilet paper instead of having Kleenex handy. And I know we buy Kleenex. It's just not the go-to when you need to.
No. I don't know why this is down here. I think I had to pick something up at some point, and I didn't have anything else. I actually have no idea why that toilet paper is even down here. I don't. I don't. No, it's not for that reason. I have 2 showers. I have 2 bathrooms in this house and 2 functional showers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, this is great content.
I suppose that makes sense, though, when you get right down to it. There's no room that the Kleenex goes in, but there's always at least one room that the toilet paper goes in. It's there anyway.
I
It's
have a Kleenex box for every room I'm in.
I use so little tissues that I think I finally finished off a box after 8 years or something.
yeah.
I have a thing. There's something wrong with my sinuses. I don't my sinuses are like Teflon coated or something. Snot does not stay in my head. I do not get a stuffy nose and I have to blow my nose like I just did. That is super not normal for me.
It just goes on its own
It just
everywhere.
falls out of my head. It just falls down my throat or just out of my nose. I do not. Snot does not stay in my head, and I need to blow it out.
I get that.
I don't use tissues.
I'm just always the snot walrus, you know. I've got pieces of whatever tissue-like material nearby, rolled up, jammed into each nostril, walking around.
Do you want some more tissues? I have a bunch of boxes I should have sent home with you.
I have a bunch of boxes. I'll take them off your hands if you need a place to get rid of them. But I have a bunch of boxes. On the rare occasion someone comes to visit me, yep, that would work. That would work. We know a person who actually makes use of them. They're light enough.
I'd mail them to you, but apparently they wouldn't get there.
They'll get there eventually. I'm sure they'll come to terms and the strike will resolve. And you know what? They don't weigh anything, so they'll be cheap to send. Yeah, that postal strike's been going on for a while now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Weird stuff.
I don't keep track.
Understandable stuff.
It's I think 2 weeks now.
Last I heard, they started getting their knickers in a twist sometime mid-November, but the strike didn't start until start. They were just dragging their feet, but the actual strike didn't start until this last week.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that could be wrong.
This always happens right before Christmas time.
Yeah.
It's almost like the load of work is going to change ridiculously and they don't make accommodations for it. And every year we try to remind them, hey, things are about to catch on fire. Can you make sure everything's set? And they're like, oh, not this year. Christmas isn't coming this year. We don't need to change anything. That's the power of collective bargaining, though. I will jump up and down and stamp my feet and wave my arms. I've always been pro-union, and this is exactly
I'm in a
why.
union. I pay union dues now. It sucks.
Yay!
Even if I'm on the end of it that's affected by a strike or an action like this, I'm like, man, this sucks for me. I hope it sucks just as bad for the people in charge, which it doesn't, but it should. But that's their way of getting us to show support too, and I do. I want people to be taken care of in their place of employment. I want you to be fairly treated where you work.
The best thing a union does is that when something sucks, it is not your responsibility to deal with it.
Yeah.
It is somebody else at the higher part of the pyramid to go and deal with the situation sucking. That's the easiest way to explain it. It's like, this sucks, but if you want to see change, you got to go talk to your boss or talk to your management or be the change you want to see, and you got to go campaign for it, and you got to talk to people and make requests and try to get things changed. And it's like, nope, I got a rep for that, and he's got bosses, and they've got bosses, and their bosses are going to talk to your bosses, and it's not my problem.
There's a role specifically to make sure that that things work out smoothly.
It's effectively a beneficial MLM.
Pretty much.
It's the old joke of what's the difference between a cult and a religion? Tax breaks. the same measurements of what an MLM is applies to unions, but it's not for profit going up. It is for the beneficial of more people downward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of shit rolling downhill, shit rolls uphill.
It's a dimmer-ripe. It's a pyramid in reverse. It's a dimmer-ripe.
Isn't that guy with the hat?
Yes. Yes. No, you're thinking of the
What?
skipper.
Doug Dimmerdome with the giant hat. Fairly
The
Odd
owner
Parents.
of the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Dimmerdome.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh man, there was a side character on the Fairly Odd Parents and birth of 100 million memes that we will be sending you all night now. I hope you know what you have just set
Okay,
yourself up
good,
for.
yay!
He had
Everybody,
a comically large hat that just went like 10-gallon hat. You know, they just go kind of up. But his was comically large off the screen, like a 20-foot tall hat. And yeah, he's a dimmer-ripe.
Send your best memes in the Discord. Go join. Give us all the Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome memes. Get the remixes out there. Oh man. Yes, 100-gallon hat. That would be an accurate description if and ever I did see one. Anyway, the point is, as a rule, I'm absolutely pro-union. If you guys unionize, I'm dissolving Hurgle. Just for the record, and it's not because I don't support you in your endeavor. It just means I forfeit, you win. But
I wonder, so I'm gonna say this in the broadest sense: programmers,
yeah,
of some engineering degree, are always seen as making a lot of money.
yes,
Like in a lot of cases, because people are dumb, and you need the smart people to make the thinking rocks do the things, right? So here's a pile of money.
Well, that leaves me out then.
I'm willing to bet over a period of time to teach you some basics. We could walk you through some sort of coding boot camp and at least get you not scared of programming, and the rest of it is all experience.
Yeah.
Because remember, we learned this shit as kids. And then just did it forever. That's the only reason we're good at it now is we started early and just have experience behind us. We are not better at it. We just have did this longer.
We do it wrong faster to get all the wrong out of the way and go fix it. That's
Yes.
the other side
Yes.
of programming is when you're doing it wrong, when it's not working, you're doing it right because you rule out everything that doesn't work. All of getting better at programming, all of getting better as programming is getting faster at getting the stuff that doesn't work out of the way.
Okay, I don't do well at problem solving.
That can be an issue. That can be an issue. There's a certain amount of planning that will help with that, and it takes a ton of patience. But never let it be said that you aren't smart enough to.
Every time you try to do a thing and it doesn't do it, you have learned one additional way not to do it.
That's true.
And it's collecting and putting those together over time. And that's the other reason that it's one of the very few careers. There are more than one, but it is not common that a career path like this is something that people say, this is the thing that I do. I do it for my job, and I do it as my hobby, and it is what defines me as a human being. Programming is one of the few places where you find a lot of people like that. And that's because that process is something you as a human being have to enjoy at least a little bit. Even if you choose to leave it behind in your free time, it's still something that you as a person are invested in enough that there was a point you did it for fun. even if you lose that because of your job. There was a point where you did it for fun. It takes that kind of dedication. You have to be able to enjoy it. Otherwise, you can't do it consistently, you know, if that makes any sense.
There we go. That now you can see me.
We can see it before.
Well lit. Very, very
I'm
well
gonna
presented.
one of these nights when I'm not at work, I'm gonna get you on a share call like this, and I'm gonna show you where the advanced camera settings are, and we're gonna turn off the auto gamma adjust on your camera because there's a hidden. I swear it's in the dumbest place. There's a hidden property box for your camera. It's got all these sliders like white balance and contrast and all this other bullshit. And for some dumb reason they break and they forget and the defaults are always wrong because webcams have not fucking changed in 30 years of computing. It's no. When you see the box, you're like, first of all, it's like this big because it was the interface is designed when it was like 640 by 480 monitors, which is like a tenth of your screen right now. It's like the dumbest old interface, the most basic little slider controls out of like Windows 95, and it hasn't changed. But there's a white balance setting or something that's set on your camera wrong, because when you connected, you could see there was a flash before it like auto adjusted, and you could see your room properly. And once you do it, you'll be able to actually see the rest. Like it won't just be the bright white thing, which is your face, because you're probably like so pasty white. That's why it's the whitest point. Haha, I'm a joke.
It's also like it makes me look greasy, but I did have a shower before coming on, I promise. I don't stink, I promise.
I do. I'm not even going to pretend otherwise.
Hey.
Boys are stinky by default.
I can fix half of that, and you're gonna laugh how. Go get a bottle of antibacterial soap. Dial, classic golden. I prefer the rain. When you get in the shower, just one little squirt, like you're gonna wash your hands. Just get a little bit of lather. Wipe down your armpits. Get some antibacterial soap. Put it in the shower. Wipe down your armpits with it. That's it. Armpit smell comes from the bacteria in your armpits.
Bacteria farts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are.
They're feeding on the dead, moist skin in there, and they've reduced, and it's the farting and the breakdown of it. Use antibacterial soap on your armpits. That's it. If you need deodorant, use that. If you have a perspiration problem, use antiperspirant. They are different products,
Yes.
people.
Yes. That is very, very true. And that is something I learned long ago, yet still much later than I should have.
Yeah.
But they are very separate things, and they have separate names because they serve separate purposes. And figuring out which one you actually should be using when you're a tweenage boy, it's one of the things they don't tell you, because a manly funk is manly. Although we're finally moving away from that.
But at least for your armpits, just not a lot. Literally just like one squirt, rub, wipe, do the rest of your shower. That's it.
Don't forget to rinse.
No, you don't even have to. Hand soap is designed to break down naturally and dissolve and flake and doesn't leave a film. You don't even have to rinse it off.
How do you know all this?
I'm autistic as fuck.
Voice of experience right there. He learned it, and he went and learned everything he would need to know about it and kept it in his memory.
I had a lot of free time all my life. I saw a great video about, why is there aluminum in deodorant and antiperspirant and the difference and all that. And I'm like, well, if it's bacteria based, why can't you just use antibacterial soap? We have that for our hands, which doesn't really do anything. Like, and the key point is not even the soap. It's just the easiest way to get antibacterial stuff onto your body. And I would say, you could just use, hand sanitizer, but that dries out your skin and stuff. Whereas a lot of hand washes have a little bit of moisturizer because you're putting it on your hands, which also keeps your armpits from drying out, which when they dry out, they flake, and that's more skin for the bacteria to feed on. It's a vicious, horrible cycle.
Yay,
Yeah.
biology.
Hi, Gene.
Actually, as to why I know this, one summer when I was a kid, I was still real young. Like, I was real young. Early teens, 10, 11, 12, like real young. I picked up a copy of Grey's Anatomy in the library and I read it. And there's a lot of information about the body that I just absorbed from that and just is in my head.
It's all a matter of synthesis. The smartest people I know are masters of taking two pieces of knowledge that the connection between them isn't immediately useful and drawing that. And it's not so much about the things that you do know and the things that you learn. It's all about finding ways to connect and apply them in connection with each other. That's what makes a people smart. Because I know plenty of smart people that don't know shit. But the minute they do, it's like fueling up a car. They just absolutely take off. But yeah.
Shut up, Fuzzy.
Also, Jeopardy.
Yeah.
I learned a lot of. My family very much watched the Wheel of Fortune Jeopardy Power Hour
Yep.
right around dinner time. So I heard a lot of phrases and said, "What the hell is that?" and then looked into them. And then I watched a lot of Jeopardy. Like, I watched Alex Trebek when he wasn't gray.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff in my head from that.
Hi, Luke. You're going to be on the show with us.
Oh.
Luke says hello.
My show that I really liked to watch when I was young was Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget Beekman's World. If you're into your strange, tall-haired man yelling science at you. Which was
I don't
apparently
think we
a
had that in
genre?
Canada.
Probably not.
See, you might be. I don't want to disclose anyone's age or anything, but you might be old enough to remember Mr. Wizard's World. Okay, maybe not. It was worth a shot. I don't know.
Mr. Wizard's World.
I have always just loved the entire category of weird old men yelling science at you. As a TV show, I'm into it.
Imagine Bill Nye if he was Gandalf.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
my god. That's hilarious.
But he was also who's the old guy in Dennis the Menace?
Mr. Wilson. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Wilson.
Imagine Mr. Wilson if he was Gandalf, but he was yelling angry science at you and just like gave no fucks. It was crazy. Child TV in like the 80s was insane.
Yeah.
It was Square One. That was a good show.
Yes.
Math Cops.
Yep.
Oh, what the hell was that?
That was
MathNet.
from
MathNet.
Square One. Yeah. Which was
Yeah.
an offshoot
Yeah.
of
I was
3, 2,
thinking
1
about
Contact.
MathNet the other day. That's funny.
It was
And
a spin-off
knockoff
from 3, 2, 1
Pac-Man.
Contact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mathman. That's a game that should have existed. I wonder who owns the rights to it now. Asking for a friend who runs a game studio. Can we get the license? Can we make Mathman now? Bring it back
Probably.
for the millennial crew?
Jason?
You know.
It was a PBS show,
Yeah.
which means there's about an 80% chance it was published by GBH Boston.
You know.
Which I also know what the hell that was about. Because, again, I learned a random fact, and now it's all in my head. But a lot of their content is considered not. It's not public domain, but it's owned by the people.
Yeah.
It's like there's an entity that owns the actual IP, but it's also owned by no one.
What's the
So
issue with some of these studios that have gone out of business and been bought by everyone? I think after all this time, you're one of the people I've been talking about this to the longest. I think after all this time, I finally found who the rights holder is that would own the IP rights to Wizards and Warriors. And it is a
holy
small
crap.
Christian publishing company. So I might have some letters to write sometime next year. Could you imagine if Hergel Studios made the next Wizards and Warriors game? Kuros
I don't even
comes
know what
back
that is.
again and travels through time in this platformer with weird power ups. There was a series on the original Nintendo, and they had one on the Game Boy as well. And I think it was just those four. But there was a series of games called Wizards and Warriors that were platforming adventure games. Take your heroic hero, go collect the items to save ye old princess and defeat ye old evil wizard. And I was absolutely enamored with the series. And then it stopped, and then the studio changed ownership a whole bunch of times. Give me that back. Stop it. Stop it. Luke, stop it. Ow, ow. No eat hand. Have you, Cat, you've lived here for a million years. Have you never heard what happens if you bite the hand that feeds you? Literally. I'm just checking. That's a thing, right? That's common knowledge here. Yes, okay. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Ow, 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 ow. Look at this adorable baby. Look at this terrible little troublemaking gremlin. I adore him so much. Luke is the loner, but you gotta admit he fits right in, doesn't he? Luke Luke is our borrowed kitten, and I don't know if he's gonna go home to his original mama or not. I mean, maybe. I guess. I'll probably fight her though. I could take her in a fist fight. I love our Luke though. But yes, Wizards and
He's pretty.
Warriors. I want a new Wizards and Warriors game if I have to write it myself. And if I have to write it myself, I'd really like to be able to publish it.
You should
Speaking
do it.
speaking of which, yeah, if I can't, I'll pull a Mighty Hero 9. That's what we should do. We should write the next Wizards and Warriors game. If we
Oh
can't get the rights to it,
no.
we'll go Mighty Hero 9. We'll just say this is completely original IP about Duros the hero instead of Kuros, collecting the shoes of hoveration instead of the boots of levitation, and the mighty steel sword instead of iron sword. And yeah,
Mhm.
we'll do it. We'll do it. Still has to have the goofy looking hat though. Which in every game you had a full suit of armor. In every game you had the goofy looking armor helmet. And on
Yeah.
every box art in the US, it had a three-quarters naked Conan looking beefy guy. No
What?
armor.
Okay. Okay. Wizards and Warriors and Mega Man. What the hell was with NES box art? Like, what brand of acid did they just have on tap in the art department? They're like, here's the game, make some. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty bad, eh?
That's not how he looks in the game. That's not how the
No.
game looks at all. He's holding a gun. I say he when obviously that's a spider dressed as a person because limbs don't work that way.
He looks like he's got balloons for muscles in
He
his
does.
legs.
He does. Not even like Popeye style fake muscles. He looks like he's wearing an inflatable suit. And
He
for
does.
reference,
Biblically accurate. Biblically accurate Mega Man.
Oh my god.
here
That's
is
Studley.
here is your cover art for Wizards
You,
and
you gotta you
Warriors.
gotta you gotta blow that up.
Oh, interesting. It didn't switch the share. Share this tab instead. Yeah.
There we go.
There's our mighty hero from Wizards and Warriors, who in the game looked more like this:
Mm-hmm.
a knight with a
Yeah.
goofy looking helmet. These games were so good. They really were. They still hold up. They're really good games.
Why were they so good with so little resources? And yet today, Call of Duty takes 700 zugabytes and looks like every other fucking Unity start new game save template as.
Creativity comes from limitations. If you
Yes, it does.
can't do anything, then you have to work hard within the constraints you have. Constraints breed creativity. The less we could do, the more we were forced to find other ways to work around.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, we were kids and everything was more impressive then because we hadn't experienced so much of the world, but that's a whole different conversation. Thank you. You really didn't have to do that, but thank you. Your continued support of the show means the world to us.
I know.
I'm not. I'm not saying she bribed her way onto the show, but I'm saying if you're interested in being a guest, don't be afraid. Yeah, 321 Contact was amazing. The PBS had amazing educational shows. PBS still has amazing educational shows, but I think we really hit like the heyday. Like we were at the tail end of the big boom in them. You know, as the electric company was slowly winding down, it had shown that there was a huge demand for educational content. Yeah, yeah. That's the other part is you're absolutely right that the audience for gaming has changed over time, and because of that, it shifts what the companies that are in it purely for profit are forced to produce. And that's why you find so many people jumping up and down, waving their arms and yelling about the independent games movement. Is it was all indie games because it was tough to make Atari, had their big bust. But before that, it was Atari and a couple companies that were trying to build a market. And then, Nintendo came in and tried to get into the market. It was establishing still. So they were fierce competitors. They had to work hard against each other in capturing a larger audience. And it wasn't until the audience was the majority of people, which at this point it is. I would very strongly argue that the majority, or at least the plurality of people, play some sort of video game. One way or
But I would
another.
like to see. Sorry to interrupt. What I would like to see is actual arcades go back to the actual playability that we had in the 80s instead of like
No.
the fishing games where you fish for points, like, and then you win when you have like X amount of tickets. I don't care about those video games. Those are not actual
Okay.
video games, they're lotteries.
Okay, here's the thing. You just walked into a hornet's nest because you're talking to two people that have actual experience working in arcades. There were two types of games in arcades. Either they were designed to suck your quarters as long as possible, or they were ticket redemption games, which they were designed to give you optimize giving you the least amount of tickets for the most amount of quarters. Okay?
While still making
Those
you
are very
feel like
different
a winner,
games.
yeah.
Yeah. Those are not games. Those are devices to separate you from your money. Period. Yeah. They were for-profit things to give you a dopamine hit. That's why they're different. The games that are out now are meant to be entertaining to the user, And if they make money off of it, it is a different experience, which is why they're not as fun anymore.
And part of the problem is at the genesis of arcades and well into their heyday, this wasn't an experience you could have at home. And now we're at a point where it always is. In order for them to have something that you can't get at home, it is a much different ask. And that's why you saw the big boom of things like Dance Dance Revolution. A rhythm game as a concept is not something that you can't play at home. You know, you can do that real easily. Press arrows on your keyboard or whatever. But the big platform, giant speakers, flashing lights, odds are you won't have that at home. So that remains a draw, but it's a very specific market. And because of that, anything that they could come up with that was cheap enough to manufacture that provided an experience you couldn't do anywhere else. You can play Tony Hawk at home on any old system. It goes all the way back to
Yeah.
the N64. But you cannot stand on the board from a Top Skater machine anywhere that's not an arcade unless you buy the machine. You can play Goemon Mystical Ninja, whatever, at home, but you can't swing your sword unless you're. What was the game we had where you had to swing your sword? You remember that?
Oh, the samurai one,
And it's
yeah.
got like a motion control thing until the
Yeah.
Wii, and now you can do that at home, and that's a giant machine, 10 foot by 10 foot by 10 foot, that's not going to make any money for an arcade anymore because you can do it at home.
Yep.
In order to take your money and remain functional as an arcade business, they have to stay out in front of what you're able to do without going there.
All that applies to the same reason cinemas are dying.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
because when you had a 32-inch TV, and even that was considered luxurious in your in your house, going to the big screen was worth the cost. Now they quadrupled the price, but it's like, or I could like stay at home on my very nice couch on with a blanket at the right temperature and nobody's walking in front of me on my 80-inch TV watching 600K Blu-ray movies, and I can hit pause and I'm not paying $20 for a bucket of stale popcorn. Why am I going to go out?
The way they tried to combat that at first is exclusivity in the theaters. If you want to see it when it comes out, you have to do that. And then
Yep.
people stopped caring as much about that. It's still what they do, but the
Well, I
studios
think
are,
COVID
yeah,
had a huge hand in that too.
yeah,
It made people realize that the home movie experience, going to the movies, you didn't need to.
yeah,
No.
When you couldn't, you're like, oh, why have we just been doing this because we have been doing this? There was no, it broke the cycle of we do this just because that's the way we've always done it. And you're like, oh, wait, we don't actually have to. Oh,
yeah,
wait, none of this matters.
yeah. And you've called it right that the time to home release has shrunk a lot. Some of that's in response to this. Some of that
Hmm.
is the cause of this. Like it's on both sides of this.
There was the same thing in VHS for home rental, because also way back in the late 90s, I worked for Hollywood Video. So there was
Of course you
so there's
did.
okay. So movies came out and they were in the theaters. There was a period of it was in the theaters. And then it would leave the theaters and it wasn't available anywhere, like maybe some of the second run ones, but by that point, everybody you either seen it or it wasn't. Then there would be a brief window, and then it would come out for rental at the Blockbusters and the Hollywood Videos type places. But it still wasn't available to buy. You had to go to rent it. And there was a period after that. They had, I think, 6 months,
Of the
and
rental
then
exclusivity, yeah.
it was available to own on VHS. But the reason
Come
it
say
wasn't
hi.
available to purchase, it was to let the people, it was to let the
Join the
rental places
podcast.
have exclusivity.
Everybody
Hi.
says hi, Ash. We love you.
I
I do have a Luke on my lap. He's adorable. Hi, Dino. We're
and
all hanging out.
back in the day, and those early copies were not normal VHSs. They were
Thank you.
like
You're the best.
ridiculously extra durable to last the hundreds and hundreds of extra plays because
Yeah.
we'd rent those. A popular movie would be out every single night.
Yeah.
For the length that we have it, it would be, it's like, oh, you buy a movie, you're gonna, you might watch it once, you watch it two. Those are only designed like normal VHSs. Not that they exist really anymore, but they were really only designed for like a few hundred plays at like maybe 100. Like the tape was real crap, which is why they were only a few dollars.
They were not high durability material, yeah.
Right.
Because
Which
how
is
many
why like
times are you going to watch the same movie?
The Disney movies, the ones that came in those squishy clamshells, were made out of the same stuff that the rental movies were made out of because they knew you were going to watch that movie back to back to back. And kids were going to they want to watch that Little Mermaid again today and again today.
Yeah.
They were designed for hundreds of playthroughs. And I found out they were made out of the same high durability stuff, which is why they were always more expensive. It's like, oh, these are designed for 500 plays and not 50.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because somebody asked whenever they were out of stock, we would sell them. We put, we would just like still had movies that like we just sell them straight, put a sticker on it like, oh, it's for sale. Never buy those because it's like buying a used car.
Yeah.
But it's buying same thing today with cars that are rental cars from like Enterprise or Hertz or whatever. Those are not normal cars. Those are not the same sedans that you are buying from Ford. They are built different and they are built to take a lot more abuse and mileage, which is why people always buy those cars when they go up for sale, is even after they've used half their life and now Enterprise is selling them off, they still got more durability left in them than your normal consumer car. Because they are meant to take 500,000 miles on that engine, whereas your normal engine, you go and buy a car, is really only meant for 100, maybe 200,000 miles if you're lucky. Those rental cars, they've got better seats, better shocks, better everything in them because they know they're going to get beat to shit.
And they do. They do. They hold up through it, but they do. Most definitely.
I want to bring back video game rental stores.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it, although I gotta admit it's a challenge with everything moving digital. As much as I love digital,
Yeah.
it also has some hazards and downsides. One of them is that. One of them is the fact that everyone is convinced you don't own your games. That's something that bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, libraries do have games for rent. I'd also be okay, even keeping it digital. I'd be okay if like there'd have to be a whole paradigm shift. Like I'd be okay if I could buy 1 week ownership of a game.
Yeah.
Like whatever, figure out some way to prorate the cost. If a game's $60, there's some new AAA game, I would pay $10 for a 1 week license to the game to see if I have if I like it at all.
Yeah.
Find a week when I have off or, a nice 3-day weekend. Let me buy a 7-day rental period. Buy me a 7-day license. See if it's the normal game. It just expires. Instead of it's a perpetual license, it's, you get 7 days and it expires. Let me see if I like it. No, not even shareware. Shareware was always a limited version of the engine cut down for that. I mean, like, just a Steam license that expires. And if I want to keep it, then I keep it.
One of the issues
like,
we run
oh,
into with demos and shareware, and I'll say this from our side, from our development side of things. One of the issues with demos, I miss them too, but now we have a game that has a demo. That means we have 2 games.
Yeah.
And it's a whole separate path of maintenance and all of that stuff.
Build. I just went through and changed our build process because we have build the full game, build the game for Steam, build the demo for Steam, build the full game locally for execution that's not the package for Steam, build the demo so we can test that. Then we also have the web sample, which is sort of the demo, but not, and works differently and is not built to be an executable. So there's different libraries we have to swap in because we're building for Steam to run as an executable in Electron. Yes, I know everybody hates that word, but like you have a different environment. You know you're not in a browser, but you are kind of. There's different things you have to do on the web that you can't just do in web in a box.
Yeah.
So that's 3 different versions of the game, which means we have 6 different build commands we have to make sure.
You should still have your invite. If you go back to that link, you should pop right
Yeah.
back in. But that's one of the reasons that I know we started with the web bit and we had it on the site and all of that. But as far as I'm concerned, am very much okay with the web one just going away.
I think we should have that. We should keep that sample, but that should be a different build entirely, and is not like the time limited demo or whatever. Like we should keep something so you can see how you like it.
Fair.
But it should be the concept of it. You know, just like 2 or 3 NPCs and whatever.
Yeah. All right. I'll remove and send a new invite just in case. But yeah, I feel like there is something we need to do. What exactly it is, I'm not sure, but there is something that we need to do to fix how the web stuff is set up there, because it's not doing what it should be.
Well, it's also just it's kind of buried. We don't drive people to it as much. And now that what purpose does it exist now that there's an actual demo you can go
Right.
get on Steam?
Right.
But the thing is you may want to try it in places you don't have Steam.
I get that. My pushback on that would be you can't play it in places you don't have Steam. Welcome back.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
No,
worries.
you're fine.
That's my thing. Is like, yes, you can see that you like it, but if you can't play it because you don't have an environment in which you can play it, discovering that you like it is more just a frustration than anything else. And if it does not stay aligned with what the game is now, because it has grown in different ways, we're now presenting an inaccurate view of what you're getting. Even if from our point of view you're getting more, it is definitely different.
Okay. You came to Minecraft late in the game, like way, way later.
Yes.
There was the early versions of Minecraft, and this was designed this way, were playable in the web. When you went to Minecraft whatever the hell it was, Minecraft was just an embedded Java applet on a web page.
Yeah.
The early versions of Minecraft were entirely web played. As the game got bigger, it hit a certain point where you couldn't load the applet in a browser anymore and became an executable. But those early versions of it, way, way early versions, stayed on the website for a long time as the game progressed.
Yeah.
They didn't have any of the newer features. They didn't backport them to like, here is whatever 0.02 version, it got too big, you know, we're now on like 0.8 or whatever, you know, like we have moved past that, but the old ones stayed on there and you could still go back and play them to see some of the concepts of it.
Yeah.
I think even if it doesn't have all the features, even if it doesn't have any of the NPCs, just the concept of here are some ingredients, here you drag it on there, because here's my pitch for this. The same way you go to a game on Steam and they've got the little intro, they've got a video that somebody has to make, and you have some screenshots and you're showing it off.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, here is my portfolio, here is what a sampler of the game is, but it's not interactable. And you see that game and you see dragging thing, but maybe you don't realize like, oh, I don't like this motion. I don't want to play. This isn't the type of game for me.
Right.
Think of it from our point of view to be able to go and say, hey, do you want to actually see an early sample of the game, a concept of it to actually like let people like as a pitch, if we're like showing something like, hey, do you want to see how the game actually plays? We have an early version of it that we kept on the web before we expanded all the content. We expanded all the other features and just left it like that.
The big thing that sticks out in my mind is I would want to make sure that we find a way to properly differentiate it then and stamp it so that people know exactly what it is in that sense. And that would change where it lives and how it's displayed a little bit. But then we say this is it. We're not maintaining that anymore. It doesn't change.
Yeah.
It is a
Yes.
snapshot in time of what the web version was like when we first came up with the concept.
Yeah. We make a branch.
Yeah.
We rip out a bunch of the code. We have a way to build it. We keep that build in that branch, and then we take all that stuff out of the main branch.
Yeah.
We just remove all that. Like nothing gets packported, but we can go in there and we can build it and we can deploy that at any time. But it is an isolated.
Yeah.
Here is this that lives from, the first 3 months of the game, and that is it.
Yeah. Hi, Luke. He is cute. I'm such a crazy cat lady, 100%. There ain't no two ways about it. That is me. That defines me as a human being. And we have a couple of projects we're working on this year, but we got to figure out what our next thing is going to be. We have a list. We have quite a list. Boy, howdy, do we have a list.
You'll always have a list.
We'll always have a list.
We come up with
how big we get. We'll have a list. Yeah.
We come up with stuff all the time.
It just keeps going.
We have an incubator channel where we'll throw in. You get like a fragment of an idea, and we'll throw it in there, and then somebody will like take it, run with it, and expand it. We're like, hey, this is actually a good idea. Let's go save this and go open, save it to somewhere else. But it's like an idea dump channel.
Yeah.
Okay, I have an idea that I want you guys to do.
Uh-oh.
I give you 20 years to finish it. A bug collecting game.
It's a pretty tight time frame. 20 years. We'll put it on the list and see what we can do. Although we do have some ideas around that.
Have you played
like you can collect
Animal Crossing?
Have you played web fishing?
Yes.
You know how web fishing takes a mechanic out of Animal Crossing so you don't have to do the rest of Animal Crossing?
Yeah.
That with a net instead of a rod.
Yes, I agree.
Web netting.
Yes.
Net
yes.
webbing.
Yes. Yes.
Web netting.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, I love it.
You're on
web webbing. Web webbing.
You're on to
Web
it.
squared.
You've got this. Perfect.
Then we make it 3D and call it Web 3. Wait.
Yes. No. I don't know.
Web cubed. Web third.
I will simply say that discussions have begun around a game that does have a similar concept.
Yeah.
I cannot promise a when or a what exactly, but discussions have started. Your idea is not far away from things that we are already talking about. Promise.
Yep.
I want to collect snails and frogs and toads and all the other gross.
None of those are bugs. Now you're describing a whole different game.
I'm excited, okay?
I get what you mean. I get what you mean. I know. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Something we definitely have to add though is arachnophobia mode.
Yes. No.
Yes.
No, we just slap a label on the front of it.
I like spiders.
And be like, this has
yes,
bugs.
But some people
don't.
really. Yes, but we have to be very clear up front.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Hey, trigger warnings. This is a game about bugs. We can disable all the spider stuff if you really don't like that. But the rest of the game is about other various crawling things. Hey.
Do not play if you do not like the bug.
Yeah.
Wait for the next one without any bugs. Bird watching the game.
Satisfactory has an arachnophobia mode. You've both watched me play. And then one day Red's like, hey, why are you shooting kittens? And I'm like, oh, because there's an option in there and it turns him in. It doesn't turn him into it. Apparently it's like a holographic filter in your helmet, which is why you still hear them. it hides it for you in game. It's like it's really it's it's beautifully done, which is funny because they die and the corpse lays there, and then the hologram fades and the corpse is still there. So you see the actual thing, but it's not crawling around because apparently it's the crawling part. It's not the corpse that
Yeah.
bothers people. Because a dead bug's a good bug. I'm doing my part. Oh, it's going to be a
I'm
fun
doing my
shift
part
tonight.
too.
It's going to be a fun shift. Anyway, it is hilarious to play. And Red was like, "Why are you shooting them?" Like, "Oh, because they're big and crawly." It's like, "Oh, but you can tell what they are because there's 3 different cats." And then I sent her screenshots of what they actually look like, and I'm like, "The little cute kittens are these little like, you know, cat-sized things, and the bigger ones are like dog-sized things." And then I sent her a picture of the big, mean, scary green one that was the size of like a buffalo, and they jump through the air way at you and claw you and release death stink clouds next to the car, next to the player. And I'm like, that's what the big green ones are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're so cute.
That is a
Don't kill
matter.
kittens.
That is a matter of
Yes,
opinion.
I do wish they, I don't know, had it replaced it with like
Pac-Man
dogs
ghosts.
or
Anything else,
lizards
yes.
or just, yeah, anything else. Although
Although,
it replaces the skittering sound with cat mews, and so rather than
Yeah,
you hear meow meow meow, and they're all
it's
over because
actually really cute.
there's
I
caves
got
all
mad at
over.
him that night. I was like, "Stop killing them!"
So rather than just hear like there's caves underground all the places, and they spawn in the darkness. And rather than just hear skittering, I just walking around. You just constantly hear cat mewing all the time because there's some cave 40 miles over the entrance is way over there that like goes under your base, and so they're just running around. It's like I gotta go find them and kill them and put a light down there so they don't spawn because I just hear them all the time. And it's funny.
yeah. No, it's a novel concept, although, like I said, it does kind of bring to mind that Black Mirror episode where they had the soldiers that had the implants that did the holographic thing for them. And I'm not going to
Oh,
spoil it, but
you could like edit people out.
yeah. I'll go find the episode. And,
Yeah,
yeah, it's Black Mirror is a fantastic show if you don't treasure your sanity. It's great at making you miserable about the state of modern technology. It really is. And there's lots of interesting dramatic twists. But yes, there's an episode about effectively what we're discussing right now.
yeah.
Replacing people with other people, or replacing things with other things, or yeah.
That episode. Wait, was it? I don't know if it was that. No, it was the one with the memory recall. The bean behind. Was it that one?
No, there was one
No,
where they
no,
were
no.
soldiers
Oh
killing.
yeah,
They called them
yeah,
cockroaches. Yeah.
yeah. There's another Black Mirror where they have the recall bean that just like records everything. You can just like scroll back through your day or whatever, but it records everything you see and do.
Yeah.
And that's actually the episode with Jodie, who went on to play the doctor, the female doctor.
Hmm.
She was in that I'm like, where do I know this woman from? She looks familiar. Yeah, it was her. Yeah.
And then there's
Man,
the
Black
episode with
Mirror.
Archangel where you could track your children. And that
Oh
was the
yeah.
thing. And then there was the episode that is the most terrifying thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. And, like, I carry permanent trauma from it. And that's the one with the video game. The, like, immersive senses video game thing with the head chip.
Oh
That
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
That one screws me up bad because it accidentally plays into my biggest fear. But we're not going to go into that. I'm going to talk about anything aside from that. Oh God, I've just killed everything. Oh no.
Jay sharing his trauma.
Oh no. Oh no.
Poor Jay.
Oh no. Anyway, I still want to write a horror game. I'm still going to make my horror game. I'm going to make a game jam out of it after the end of the year. I have a couple December projects I'm working on that are time sensitive. After the end
Yeah.
of the year, I'm going to make my horror game, though. I'm going to take a weekend, just make a game jam game out of it. Hi, welcome back. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I have coffee. Oh boy, this is a good idea. Nothing could
Coffee.
possibly go wrong. Yeah, speaking of December projects, I just recently completed one of my December projects. You got, right, Fuzzy? Cuz I sent, you got a money?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Um Last stream standing was over this past weekend. Thank you.
Yay.
Yay, you're the
It went.
best. Thank you. It went.
It definitely happened.
Hey,
It definitely happened.
it went really well. It went really well. I'm super happy with how everything came out. We had a couple hiccups the first day, which were good learning experiences, but there were hiccups in multiple
Oh my God.
senses the first day, you know? You can't Jiggy can't go into it expecting everything to work perfectly the first time if you don't have
With
time
no
to do a
testing.
practice run through.
Yeah.
There's going to be technical glitches no matter how many times you've done it. They always happen. That is the nature of anything that is connected like that. And if you go into it blind because you can't share it with people beforehand, you're going to run into technical issues. This is such as the nature of life. But with all of that said, we did as much practice and testing as we could. And when we discovered the circumstances that everything ran in, we uncovered a couple things that were relatively easy to fix. And we raised $34,000 for the American Cancer Society over the course of the weekend. Big shout outs to Super MC Gamer for setting everything up. It was absolutely fantastic. It was amazing through and through. I was so happy with how everything went. I'm praying for season 2 because I want in, man. I want in. I want to do this again. This is way too much fun.
I think. Okay. I know the details of some of the technical difficulty. I think the biggest problem was, and we all suffer from this because all three of us stream, and we stream video games. So we all have at some point streamer brain, goldfish brain. People do not fucking read the words that are on their screen. I don't know what happened when that camera light is on. It's got a magical field that suppresses your ability to like read. Basic reading comprehension.
It just goes. It goes. I'm
I
guilty of
was
it too,
watching
100%.
I had 4 windows open. I had the host, and it was one person, and then I was bouncing between 2 other ones. And every single one of them was like, okay, the click start, and they immediately go into practice. And like, there's a big giant screen that says instructions. And they click the button, they're like, what do I do? I don't know what the buttons do. It's like, if only there was a screen a second before that had big giant words that told you what the game was, and even had pictures of like arrows, you know, a left and a right, or an A and a D that says move your character back and forth, and a space bar that says pick up stuff. And then you're like, oh, my character's not moving, but my WSAD is not working. It's like, if only you would have taken 0.1 second and looked at it.
I will also say that remember the hosts gave the instructions too. Not only were they there, but
The thing. I have a lot of commentary I don't want to say on a recorded line in front of people
I appreciate
because
that.
I a lot of the streamers involved were not my particular flavor of entertainer I like. Some of them are. I knew a couple of them already. But in general, the problem is they had the jiggy problem. Whereas you could be a good host or you could be a good gamer. And you could tell and I know they all had chat off to avoid spoilers and stuff, but they were still trying to talk to their audience because they were all streaming on their individual streams. They were still trying to be their own streamer, and they were not paying attention to the game that was happening, even to the conversations that were happening live on the voice chat. they were still trying to talk to their streams. And they needed to not do that. If all of them would have been there and not been streaming and only had to focus on the interpersonal things and also the games, which is already two things, because there was smack talk and voice chat and all that, and then also they had to play the games to compete to, win or lose or get voted off, but then they were also trying to actively stream. That's three things, and we know streamers can only do one thing, so two is taxing it, three is no.
I think they got better at it as it went along, though. I will say that. Like, because it was a whole new experience for everyone involved, as you started to see the flow of things, and that's super important to this event, is because it follows a completely unique structure that is legally distinct from any TV show.
Yes.
I was working, so I have no idea what went on, so I can't add anything.
I will make sure I link you to the VODs for this, because it's definitely worth checking.
I would like to see them.
Who did you switch between, Fuzzy, if you don't mind me asking? Because I kept main feed up the whole time, personally. With very
the
few
host
exceptions.
Because that was kind of entertaining, although I personally, this entirely personally, I found most of the hosts very annoying and grating, but it's a personality type. It's just, I don't like that type of way too energetic, outward type of host in general. It's not
what you prefer to watch. Yeah,
it's the same reason I don't watch a lot of like commentary on sports and stuff.
Yeah,
it's
just, I get you.
I don't like that type of person. It's not them. I don't like that personality type.
Right.
I had Burke up.
It's your preference.
Yeah.
It's not like they're great people.
They did what they did great. I don't like that thing they did.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that whoever's listening can differentiate between not liking someone and not liking the entertainment aspect.
All right.
Yeah. Entirely.
You gotta.
I had Burke. Okay, the other thing that was kind of annoying is the interface. You could switch between the people, but some streamers, they have this. They don't have auto playing ads, so whenever you join your stream, you get a 30-second pre-roll all the time.
Yeah.
And then you don't have ads. Some people do that so they can manually run the ads, but you get a pre-roll when you join. You get one 30-second ad when you join, and then you don't get. The ads are manual after that. So they did that so ads wouldn't be running, so they could control when they ran.
Right.
Which sucked because if you were trying to switch between them, you got hit with an ad, or if you were embedded in that interface, you just got like, we think an ad is happening, but because it's embedded, we don't show the ad because they can't do it. So like you just saw like a bright blue, teal, green screen for like 30 seconds, and then you couldn't do anything. So there was a couple people that didn't have that were running ads, so you could join them instantly, and those are I found the ones that. So like, Burke does that.
Yeah.
So I kept his up and just muted it, and then some of the other ones I was, Mars, although I don't know how anybody can watch her.
Okay. I understand that's a personal preference thing, but I like Mars.
On the show, on Last Resort, she was perfect for it. She's exactly the perfect type of person to be on that show. I could not stand watching her streaming, though.
I understand and respect your opinion.
But that's entirely just, I don't like watching certain types of movies, so I don't watch them. Yeah. They're probably perfectly fine. They're probably beautiful pieces of cinema. I don't like that, so I don't watch them.
Just not your jam, yeah.
Right.
I watch John, but I have other connections to John, too.
Proton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I started watching Burke because this was my first real exposure to him. I know you've said something in the past about him, but this was my first exposure to him. I like him.
He's got, if you watch, he's got a lot of production value. He does a lot of green screen. He's very pirate themed. He's got like some very elaborate overlays and green screens and layering in the pirate ship, and he's got a very complex backdrop that he uses to be on the pirate ship, and he has separate inserts on the green screen for what's in the portholes on the ship.
Nice.
And it's not just one background, it's other videos, so they're overlaid in between. And then he can stand up and he has another set that's the same green screen set, but he can stand up and be in front of a different, like, it's a whole shtick, and it's done very well. It is third tier evolution of production value. It's like, that's what you evolve into as a streamer.
Yeah.
You do not start in, everybody's like, oh, I've got to have a green screen and 700 overlays and a 16 button stream deck, and I got to push thing, and I need this transition. Like, no, dude, you need a thing to hit go live. Figure out the rest as you go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You'll build it piece by piece. Don't let not having it stop you from getting into it.
Yeah.
You'll get it when you're ready to.
Who you're talking about, Burt Black?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I just brought up his Twitch and I'm just checking him out.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of pirate stuff, but what I'm looking at.
Blocked, banned. Friendship with Red Stephanie ended. Pirates are the best.
What?
We can't be friends
What?
anymore. I like pirates.
What?
Sorry. Too bad. I kid. No, honestly, I want to give a big shout out to everyone there. You know, you're gonna like different kinds of shows and all of that, but check out everyone that was at Last Stream Standing, because they are all fantastic people. They're all fantastic entertainers, and among that group, you'll find at least one person that you absolutely love to watch. What are you guys doing? Quit fighting, children. Be nice to each other. Hey. Quit fighting.
I will say
Hey.
that
I don't know what's going on. Some kind of cat fight with actual cats
Cat
this
cam,
time.
cat cam.
I need a cat cam. Cat cam's going on my list. See, there's a thing. I'm going to evolve into a streamer that has a cat cam.
Okay, Indy.
I should be so lucky. She is fantastic. I miss her. She's been buried in school stuff. She hasn't been able to stream this week. I miss her.
I saw her playing. I saw her pop up on Steam. She was playing something.
Yeah, she's trying to catch up on some of the other stuff she has in her review queue and everything as well, but she hasn't had a whole lot of time to study or to stream. She's only had time to study. Point is, what the hell was I saying? Go watch Burke, go watch Proton John, go watch Masei, go watch Rail.
Yeah.
Go watch Ash Said Hi. And you know what? I'm disappointed that two of our original planned guests couldn't make it, and I'm kind of heartbroken about that. But I have a tiny bit of bias towards my man Xwater. Go watch Xwater, even though he couldn't be on it, because he's one of us nerds. He really is. I wish he could have been here. I hope he's back for season 2. I hope I'm back for season 2. But,
it was also just entertaining to see the people who had ever seen an episode of Survivor and had any idea how to metagame, like, the alliances and, like, save this buff for this and do this, and, like, knew which games, and, like, it didn't matter. You know, it's like they knew how to play the game.
John playing the long con. Okay, spoiler alert. Sorry, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. John playing the long con, and John going out of his way to protect Ash from the minute she was ready to fall on her sword at the beginning. I did not expect that at first, and the more I saw it, the more I was all about it. The more I'm like, his whole goal is to get as far as he can protecting Ash. And then Ash ended up taking it, and that made my whole... I'm jumping up and down and cheering. You know, I've got my headset on. I'm listening to production talk the whole time, and I'm flailing my arms at the computer with glee, listening to him give his "Why should you vote for me" speech at the end. It's like, no, don't vote for me. I got here to tell you to vote for somebody else to win. And that would... The man's noble. The man's noble and chivalrous. Never let it be said otherwise. Yeah. Proton John's my guy. Even if he did not correctly guess spine in the word shuffleboard. But that's a whole nother episode of the podcast where we'll talk about that.
Hey, Red, are you good at anagrams?
No.
Are you good at spelling?
Yeah.
Write down the word spine. What other words can you make with those letters?
You guys are gonna get me. I swear to God, if you get me kicked out of Denny's.
Yes, that is not the order that they guessed those words in.
Yeah. Everyone kind of defaulted from those letters being shuffled to your third response there as their first guess. So I'm pulling that out of the word list for next time. Just saying.
Okay, I have an idea. I have an idea for a project that we should do for Hergel internal use. We should go make a repo with a bunch of big ass word lists just so we have them. Okay, like big massive. Here is all. Go get like Webster's.txt basically,
Yeah.
right? And have some tools that can filter. Like, okay, I load the word list. I need all 5-letter words because I'm gonna make a Wordle clone, and it spits you out 5-letter.txt.
Yeah.
But we have a list of banned words that we'll pull out or whatever, but we should have a tool that runs anagrams across them. Yeah, to make sure we don't put spine in there so you can't also spell penis.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we should anytime we're doing any sort of like morality filter on it, we should also make sure,
Yeah.
you know,
Although I will point out that John raised a very valid point that there were words in that game, because of the way the game was structured, where you could put in a valid word, but it was not in the word list and it was not the target word.
yeah.
That's something to account for next time we do a similar game, is if it is a word, but it's not the word you're supposed to be spelling, we should show
Yeah.
that to the user. The reason it didn't this time around is because if it was a valid word, I looked for words with unique spellings.
Yeah.
But the list that I had pulled from originally did not have some of the alternates in it. So, snipe was not in my word list at all, just because of where I sourced my word list from originally.
Well, that's just disappointing then.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just giving you a hard time, Jay.
Yeah, you're
A shame
not
on your
alone,
house
apparently.
and your cats and your goat.
I did pretty poorly. Yeah, I agree. I screwed that one up royally. I was going.
But now you know what not to do for next time.
Yes. Yes.
See, you learned something.
If I'm lucky enough to get a next time, I know what not to do for next time.
You learned something.
That I did. And every day you learn something is a good day. I also have further discussions to make with MC about this stuff too. This project is officially closed out, but we have more related stuff to talk about going down the line. So
Yeah. A couple times people did say, I wish I could play this. Like, I hope we can play these after the fact, because they did enjoy some of them.
I don't know if you noticed, but every time a minigame finished, I dragged one of the cabinets down into the understream area so they could play it on free practice.
Oh.
Like, the challenge would go away, but the understream room was filling up with arcade cabinets because I put one of each game down there.
I only caught bits and pieces of the second day.
Yeah.
Because I, had to sleep because I had to work that night.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was... Now that we know how the game was structured, we would have designed the games very differently.
But we did a lot of things right. And day 2, when we had some of the odd technical mishaps corrected, things went a lot smoother. I want to talk to MC about when I can talk about what. But at some point, pencil this in on your calendar eventually. I will be doing a stream with a technical deep dive into this after I clear a bunch of other stuff.
Retrospective?
Yeah. I want to do a post-mortem on the games.
Post-mortem, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Both of those are right, but post-mortem implies that it's dead. That's why people use retrospective instead. But, yeah. Keep your eyes peeled. I'll make an announcement. We'll sit down and we'll do a deep dive on the games. I'm excited to go through that. And
I also just wonder how much I wonder if some of the problems, and you would know because you had better access to the logs and stuff like live because you were like managing it. How much, if there was any problems like with people's setups or something because they were connecting
Not a
through like
significant amount of it. Not a significant
packets
amount.
being blocked because they'd like pie holes or it was blocking like ADA, like some of the players like it would not load or whatever. You know, it was like weird like actual connection things, but like
This was a happy path problem on my part. I assumed people would go up, activate the machine, and now they have a WebSocket connection and
yeah.
stay there.
Oh.
And leaving and rejoining was not handled properly because this was supposed to be an event. You go up, you start it, you play, you're done.
Yeah.
That one's on me. That one's on me. But it was very much a happy path problem. I assumed this
Yeah.
is the flow that would happen. And when you heard, can everyone exit the machine and come back in, that's what it was. Someone had left and come back in, and now I have two connections. It's not going to send the right thing to both of those because they're separate. Yeah.
Yeah. I did see that in testing. If I like reloaded, like there'd be multiple versions of me because some part of it was still connected. Yeah.
And my attempts to deduplicate some of that meant that some people wouldn't get the right signal because it wouldn't know which one to send it to. So it would just. Blah, 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 blah. I'm saving that
I
for the
wonder
deep
if
dive.
also I wonder if also in the future we can get more people, you know, I say this in I'm saying this in a good way.
No, you're right.
More people like Red to come in that that don't have as much technical detail on it because it's a forest for the trees. You are going to have a different perspective on playing the game and not thinking about all the stuff. You were only going to see what you're seeing on your screen and your perspective. Like this happens in software stuff all the time. It's like we design it, but we know how it's built and we think in terms of buttons and links and sockets and all this other stuff. And you only see the instructions that are on the screen.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a good example is like before you started streaming, you just saw the stream. You saw the player window on Twitch. That's all you think about. But once you start streaming, you're like, you see not the one you don't see the rectangle. You can see in your head all those different OBS layers. And
Yeah.
you know there's a camera here and there's a game here and the thing and there's a cutout and all this stuff. And you can see like you can just see you look at anybody's stream and you can like see all the different components and they've got this box, so that's an image thing, and there's a text scroll over there and that's a thing, and they're capturing that, and that's probably a web, like you just think of it like that. It's the same way with software. We look at any web page and we don't see it is just the page on my screen. It's like I can see the structure of the buttons and the divs and the lines and all the bullshit that make up that page. I cannot look at websites like a normal person anymore.
It does.
And it's
It
really
100% destroys your ability. The other thing I run into a lot when I'm testing, and this is not unique to me, but this is a developer program problem. Blah. When I am able to recruit people to help me test things, and I have to have people to help me, especially for multiplayer stuff, for network stuff, you need multiple people. I can open 6 web browsers, but I know what I'm doing. The people that I can recruit to help me will look at me and say, okay, what do I do? And I need to train myself to stop answering that question.
Yeah. Because that right there is a big red flag of the people don't know what to do. During what bouncing between the streams, I saw Mars specifically. She would go up to the machine and there's that first screen where you have to click on it to interact, and it said start. And they were afraid to push that because they thought that started the game.
It said on day 1, it said play, and you brought that up to me. Between day 1 and day 2, I changed it from play to start.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I just Mandela'd my own self. Like, I thought it said...
Yes, it said play on day 1. And because they didn't want to start the game because it hadn't internalized that it opens it to the instructions, and then there's a button to let you have a practice round.
Yeah.
But the actual game itself...
The button should say practice round then.
It says start
Oh no,
practice.
it did.
There was a button that said play on a black screen at the very beginning. That was my mess up. We changed that to start. But that's turn on the machine was the implication. And that's a whole different technical thing why that was even there in the first place, but that blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. But when you're at the instruction screen, there's a button at the bottom that says start practice.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna come in into the conversation as a gamer.
Yeah.
We play so many games, and there's so many ways to start, and there's so many ways to deviate from that start. So that when you know absolutely nothing from a game, I can see her saying to herself, okay, is this going to start the game or is this going to start to play the game? That's probably why she was hesitant.
Oh. I can totally avoid the ambiguity. Change to say insert coin.
Yeah. That's what I should have done.
Yeah. Because there's no it's entirely
Although
it's
the
totally
problem I see with that, is it carries a question about now I have to think about do I have a coin? Because that is a thing that's not been brought up anywhere else. I get what you're saying, but this is
Right,
shifting
but
the
it's-
problem elsewhere.
Yes, but also the entire it's just to keep fit in with the theme of you're walking up to the cabinet. The first thing you do is you
Yeah.
put in the coin to start.
Yeah.
You know.
Skeuomorphism gone wrong. Anyway, I think I know
Yeah.
how to get around that problem next time around. But that, like I said, that leads to a technical deep dive question. I have a solution to that. We'll talk about that way down the line in the future. But yeah, there was some hesitancy on some part, and then there were some people who were absolutely cavalier and ready to get started, and like trying to sneak in and start the cabinets while there wasn't even a challenge going on, to see if they could sneak in a practice round or things like that. So I had to live move things in and out of rooms so that they didn't exist until it was time to actually play them, and
I warned you about that when we were talking about that.
I went back and forth with the production team about this too. You know, we would
There's always
finish
going
a
to be
round.
someone who tries to push the boundaries.
There would be a round and it would finish, and then they would go to that, and I'd get a call over the headset that says, all right, set up for 14. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to set up for 14. And they're like, are they ready to go yet? No. I will hit the button to make them ready to go when it's time to do it, because I just had to move them out of the room because someone was trying to play with it.
Yeah. When this will make more sense when you watch some of the streams. They were using a virtual interface of like walk around characters, like it they were like walking around and they were in a dungeon spaceship thing, but it's got like proximity voice, so like you would walk into a room and you would hear people slowly fade in as you join the conversation and stuff like that.
It is pretty neat.
Yeah. It was cute.
It was a cool concept, and I think the execution, like I said, for being the first time figuring out how everything would work, I think it went really well, all told.
Yeah.
We hit no worse technical hiccups than we've hit anywhere else.
At least you knew, because they were all streamers, they had at least some technical ability to follow instructions.
Yeah.
You know, you weren't like, what, like, do you mean left click or right click? You know, they're not like, oh, click on the screen. It's not like trying to instruct Granny. But
It's fun.
do I want to order Chinese food?
Yes.
Yes.
2-1. You're out.
What do I want to get?
2 out
do I
of
wanna
3
get?
streamers say yes.
What do you
What do I
want
wanna get?
That's a tough call. Beef with broccoli.
No.
Okay.
I'm not eating broccoli.
Wonton soup.
No, it's got to be something I can eat in 4 hours when it's cold.
You're usually not big on the pepper steak. Bourbon chicken?
Oh, I just don't want to be
Keyword
like,
tonight?
oh yeah.
Yeah, we're cutting into his nap time.
34
I'm sorry.
minutes. Oh, no, you're fine.
Get the chicken.
I
It's even
slept.
better when it sits at 6 hours at room temperature.
That's in the danger zone for too long. I did my food safety training.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
I had to watch the FOG, the fats, oils, and grease tutorial today. I'm like, I put box from bigger box onto flat thing. I do this for 8 hours. I am not touching oils, grease, icing. Apparently, icing is horrible too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All the don't put fats, oils, greases, down drains and, grease traps. Like, apparently, cake icing is really horrible for it. It's something with the stuff that isn't the sugar,
Yeah.
the icing fluff.
Emulsifiers and bulking.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the stuff that makes icing have body, combined with the sugar chains, makes it really sticky and not very water soluble.
Yeah. It's delicious napalm.
Yeah, it's apparently like really bad for drains.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't either. I'm like, this is information that will now live in my head forever, and I will have a perfect way to like, well, we don't have, like, how do we fuck up somebody's pipes? You got any cake icing?
Yeah, see, that's
And
like
now
I
I'm
said-
good. And now I'm gonna know that. And you ask how do I know these things? It's because I saw one random piece of information once, and it just lives in my head,
It
and I have
sticks.
no reason to know that. I have no reason to know anything about fats, oils, grease traps, or any of that shit. Or now I can spot the outside access grease trap ports, which apparently buildings have outside access where they come and just like septic tank, like suck out grease, and there's access ports outside, and I can spot those now.
Yep. Yep. It is a learning experience all the way around.
And I watch video Deviant Olam's, penetration testing stuff, and now every time I walk into a building, I like subconsciously look for the little knock boxes on the outside where they have like the master, like the fire engine key. Firefighters have a magic key that gets into a special little box that's on the outside of the building, and in that box is the key to get in the building. It's effectively the grown-up way to put a key under the mat that only like firefighters and police can get into. And like once you know that, and you just walk in, like, oh look, there it is, it's over there. Like you just like, oh,
I see them now. I see them everywhere. It's they live glasses, but for trivia.
yeah. Oh man.
All right, we're coming up
Well,
on
the
time.
caffeine's kicked in.
We're coming up on time. I need to let you order your food and get ready for dinner. I do want to say, since we had the charity event this past weekend, last stream standing, all done and over with, I will let you know when we're going to be doing a technical deep dive on that. Friday the 13th.
My favorite day.
I may not have a
My
whole
favorite day.
ton of details yet, but I will share them with you as they come out. I will just say that on Friday the 13th, you should come get on the bus with us. And that's all I'm going to say about it for right now. Pencil in the evening of Friday the 13th. It is time to get on the bus. A bunch more stuff coming up. Side quest at the end of the year. Talked to Monica this week. Fuzzy saw I talked to Monica this week, so I should have some exciting updates about that stuff soon. If you've been waiting to get some Hergel merch, your time is coming up rather rapidly. Big shout outs to our guest. Yes, thank you, Fuzzy. Big shout out to our guest, Red Stephanie. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today. I've only been promising to do this for like months now, and I've managed to screw up every time. And I screwed up this time, and you stuck with me. God bless you for it. You are a sweetheart, and I love you absolutely to bits. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate you, each and every one of you. I'm going to go crash Jiggy's stream. He's the only button that's live on my stream deck right now. I'm going to go crash Jiggy's stream. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. We will see you next week at 6 o'clock. I'll be here and awake that time on the Blue House Bull session.
Oh,
and until then...
I just thought about something.
Uh-oh.
The thing doesn't tell you. It needs to pull I don't know if the API will tell you if they're guest starring on somebody's thing.
It will not.
Oh.
It will not.
I have a bug ticket to file with Twitch.
I like that idea. You should do that.
That's a good idea.
I have a whole
That's
page
a
of
good idea.
you're on there, Jiggy's on there, Jay's on there.
I got, let's see, I got Jackson, I got MC, I got Amaya, I got Cass, I got Indy, I got all three of us.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, yes, we will catch you next time on the Blue House Bull Session. Bye.